Welcome to AgeLess, a podcast uncovering the truth about healthy aging, mindset and medical aesthetics for adults of all ages. I'm Dr Jonquille Chantrey, surgeon and global thought leader in positive aging and aesthetic medicine. For over 2 decades, I've worked at the intersection of aesthetics, mental health and aging medicine. After performing over 80,000 surgical and complex medical aesthetic procedures, I haven't just delivered the physical treatments. In my Clinic 1 aesthetic studio, I've helped my patients from all around the world to redefine their own beliefs around attractiveness, confidence, and health. A major focus of my work is on beauty standards, understanding cultural pressures and diverse influences around the world, and the social truths in beauty. I've managed countless cases and witnessed firsthand the negative impact and harm this can bring to people's psychosocial and economic well-being. The pressures of body conforming, looking as young as possible, achieving anatomically impossible facial beauty, and maintaining cultural ideals can be really deeply tied to self-worth and self-esteem. The celebrity-driven images of anti-aging and the undisclosed huge financial costs to achieve these outcomes. The harmful or unconscious pursuit of these very narrow ideals is one of the greatest mental health challenges of our time. These pressures and standards don't just come from social media. They present culturally in families, in relationships, and are even projected and amplified within aesthetic clinics and cosmetic surgery practices everywhere. And these pressures don't wait until midlife. Gen Z and millennials are already feeling them. Almost 50% of 18 to 24-year-olds in the UK report dissatisfaction with their appearance, directly linked to social media exposure. By contrast, many of my older patients feel overlooked and devalued, both culturally and in the workplace. These specialties I work in are hugely dynamic and consumer-driven, and there's insatiable demands for innovation. I speak nearly every month at medical congresses globally, and every time I come back, I'm asked by both patients and journalists what's new and what's next. Here's the truth. I spend a lot of my career as a trend forecaster, and that means working at least 5 years ahead in innovation and advising the world's biggest companies in this space. But every time I'm asked what's new and what's next, I lead with one non-negotiable. Safety and efficacy always comes first. And proof takes time. Ethics in the code of medicine is assumed, but ethics wildly varies by practitioner and by region worldwide. In the UK, we have a major crisis in the unregulated delivery of medical prescription drugs and procedures within medical aesthetics. Medical practice has been completely devalued into essentially glorified beauty therapy. And when celebrity-driven trends and unqualified practice collide with billion-pound commercial forces, people can get hurt. And that's why transparency matters. So back to healthy aging. Here's 2 practical healthspan tips you can incorporate this week that will help your body and mind both today and in the long term. The first is resistance training. Just 2 sessions a week helps preserve muscle and bone density, which is one of the most powerful longevity tools we've got at any age. Adults over 30 start losing 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade, and this accelerates after 60. Sarcopenia can be acute or chronic, but when related to aging, it can cause reduced skeletal muscle mass, strength, and function. The second is protein intake. Research consistently shows that higher protein intake supports muscle mass, bone density, and metabolic health as we age. Whilst this is a highly debated subject, evidence in a review from the New England Journal of Medicine in 2024 and a paper published in Nutrients in 2025 point to aiming for 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day to preserve muscle and prevent frailty. Adequate protein also helps with maintaining skin firmness and works really well if you're actively on an in-clinic skin management regime. Proteins are one of the safest and most accessible and most effective longevity strategies that we've got. And as a thank you for joining me on this introduction to AgeLess, I want to give you something special. At my clinic, One Aesthetic Studio, we use the Power Sculpt machine, a revolutionary non-invasive treatment that uses high-intensity electromagnetic energy to stimulate muscle contractions far beyond what you can achieve in the gym. It strengthens and sculpts muscles in the abs, glutes, arms or thighs. It also boosts metabolism, improves posture, and supports functional strength, making it both an aesthetic and a health-enhancing treatment. For our AgeLess community, we're offering 15% off a Power Sculpt treatment at One Aesthetic Studio. Just use the code POWER15 when booking. And to make sure you don't miss any episodes, please subscribe and share this podcast with someone you love. My hope is together we're not just consuming more trends, that we're consciously shaping new cultures of beauty and aging.